This once-hated Reddit post would change the face of financial markets forever. Posted in 2019 by a man named Gill, who purchased $53,000 worth of GameStop options. Little did he know that his Reddit post would change his life forever.
He went from like trading a couple $1,000 a day, I think, to now laying hundreds of millions on the line. I mean, can you tell us about the man?
Roaring Kitty. Shares are now up more than 60% pre-market.
Roaring Kitty.
This is what I'm over 70% at one point.
Keith Gill, who also goes by Roaring Kitty.
700%.
We like the stock. We like the stock.
As for me, I like the stock.
Really fucking rich.
Meme stocks are selling off today after the massive spike. A complete 180 after Robinhood restricted buying. A lot of retail traders going to lose it all after following Roaring Kitty. This guy started this thing. Where is he now?
Kitty was the ultimate underdog who came from humble beginnings.
I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts. My family was not wealthy. First in my family to earn a 4-year college degree when I graduated from Stonehill College in 2009. From 2010 to 2017, I worked at a few startup companies, but there were significant periods when I was unemployed. I took an interest in the stock market, and even though I had very little money, I used those times to educate myself and learn more about investing. After nearly 2 years unemployed, I accepted a marketing and financial education job at MassMutual.
At MassMutual, Keith was tasked with creating financial educational videos that advisors could present to potential clients. When asked about Kitty's employment, MassMutual stressed he wasn't a stockbroker, financial advisor. Pretty much he wasn't allowed to give his financial opinions.
I was not a stockbroker or a financial advisor. I did not talk to clients, and I did not recommend stocks for them to buy.
Not able to share his stock ideas at work, Kitty decided to share them with anyone who would listen. He became known as Deep F***ing Value on Reddit, but the name that would live forever.
Welcome to Roaring Kitty.
And Kitty's first big opportunity he would share with his subscribers was GameStop. Kitty had an idea that seemed a little too crazy for anyone to believe. A long-term belief that GameStop was not headed to immediate bankruptcy like everyone thought, but instead with the launch of 2 consoles in 2021, the gaming retailer would not only have enough cash to survive, but potentially thrive.
It's like the Big Short again, or more like the Big Short Squeeze this time, right?
And while Kitty shared his views far and wide, it felt like no one was listening. For months, he'd post his positions on Reddit, and for months, he'd be roasted.
Sell ASAP. Why would anyone long this flaming dumpster fire?
I always have respect for iron hands, no matter how they may be.
Kitty got diamond hands? Dude, everyone thinks I'm crazy, and I think everyone else is crazy.
Despite all the criticism and mockery, Kitty didn't sell. He only bought more. And after months of patiently waiting, a series of events would happen that would change everything.
In October 2020, GameStop entered into a multi-year agreement with Microsoft.
Ryan Cohen spent $76 million to buy 9 million shares of GameStop.
With all the hype and development surrounding GameStop, a short squeeze opportunity started to form for those who don't know a short squeeze.
Bets essentially that the stock would decline. As long as the stock fell, short sellers would make money. But the Redditors figured out that if they collectively bought a bunch of GameStop, they could force a surge. The short sellers would have to buy back higher, creating what's known as a squeeze.
And that's exactly what happened.
Fucking cheers to all y'all.
Well, I'm thinking that this GameStop situation is the craziest I think I've ever seen.
Kitty was no longer alone in his beliefs. The people who once doubted him were now starting to get behind the movement.
An army of day traders going to battle against noted short seller Andrew Left.
Some people look at this as a stick it to the man opportunity.
Look at this shit. Look at this shit, 60%.
And that is the story of GameStop.
I'm not sure if everybody fully understands what's happening here.
As a clan of Reddit traders wreak havoc on the Wall Street pros.
I caution those who are out there thinking that they should buy into this stock, because the truth is that there's no fundamentals behind what's happening here.
He put about $53,000 into it, and he rose all the way up to $50 million in GameStop, which is completely insane.
While Kitty was able to cash out with a cool $50 million, he left an army of apes waiting for his next move. An ape refers to someone who buys a hot stock, often aggressively and without extensive research. The frenzy became so massive, Robinhood restricted its users from buying any GameStop or other meme stocks.
By not letting people buy it, only selling it, there was only one outcome: crater the stock.
Wall Street did what it does best: cheat.
What are you trying to cheat, my boys?
The GameStop share price started to drop drastically.
Cheater!
Soon after,
Cheater!
Kitty stepped away from the markets, but he had promised his army of apes that he would return.
But I intend to come back. I just don't know when or what it will look like.
With the meme stock frenzy fizzling out, GameStop's price continued to go lower and lower, continuing to post about their beloved stock and refusing to believe it was over. The apes who championed GameStop were kicked out of Wall Street Bets and forced to create a new subreddit, Super Stonk. There they posted about market manipulation, hedge funds, and the belief that one day they would finally experience the true mother of all short squeezes. But after nearly 3 years, and with GameStop down nearly 90% for the peak of the meme stock frenzy, many began to believe that it was over. No! Until the summer of 2024.
So-called meme stock mania, part 2.
For shares of GameStop soaring today.
Meme stocks made their presence known once again. The GameStop story just keeps getting more and more bonkers.
Is it happening again? And if so, why?
Is it surprising at all that we are seeing the return of the meme stock craze?
No, I don't think it's a return. It's a much different market dynamic.
Not only was it the return of meme stocks, it was the return of...
Well, Roaring Kitty back on X for the first time in 3 years, and at the open you talked about shares being up 47%. Now shares are up 68%, 69%.
Nobody knew what to make of this sudden move, except for Keith Gill. Everything was going exactly as planned. Little did everyone know, Kitty was back and in a big way, betting millions on a short-term GameStop move up.
I know what markets are going to do over a long period of time. They're going to go up. In terms of what's going to happen in a day or a week or a month or a year even, I never felt that I knew it.
But Kitty knew something others didn't. He knew a simple tweet from himself could move the market.
Is this really just purely because Roaring Kitty sent a tweet out? A meme?
Kitty's army of apes was starting to take form once again.
It's up to each and every one of you, my highly trained apes.
Kitty had turned into someone else. It was no longer about a long-term play like before. It was a quick hit and run.
All on GameStop. Knowing
all this, Kitty purchased up to $30 million in short-dated GME call options. This wasn't a well-researched, well-thought-out long-term investment. This was a straight-up gamble, and it worked.
So now shares are up 166% in May alone.
Yeah, the meme trade may very well be back. Roaring Kitty, remember that name of Wall Street Bets fame? He's returned.
A huge rally in GameStop shares.
Kitty eventually posted his positions, which only fueled the fire more. He had now taken his initial $50,000 investment and turned it into over $200 million. Keith made hundreds of millions before GameStop diluted shares, sending the stock back down.
The bravest human being in the world.
Everyone said this position was crazy, that he was a madman. Anyone else would have walked away, but not Kitty, who continued to post updates about his position. He posts an Uno reverse card on Twitter, which again moved the price.
GameStop surging again. Roaring Kitty posted on Reddit showing what appears to be a $116 million bet.
The thing you have to know about short-term options is that the swings can be massive.
Yes, yes, yes!
A seemingly small decrease in the stock can see your options value decrease drastically.
No! Shit!
If the stock does not get over your strike price by the specific date, your money can go to zero. It's like gambling. And this legend was letting it ride. $65 million in options that could expire worthless in 2 weeks.
Balls on this prick.
Kitty again was the catalyst. He kept tweeting memes and updating his position, which had catapulted him to over $500 million. And then, as the excitement built, he tweeted that he'd be doing a live stream on June 6th.
Finally will appear in a video. He's scheduled to do a live stream at noon Eastern tomorrow.
And the stock went nuts. GameStop continued its surge into after-hours trading, reaching over $60. Roaring Kitty had become a billionaire on paper.
The first retail trader billionaire.
This is one of the craziest stories of all time, becoming a billionaire from $53,000. I can't believe this is real.
Then, the following morning, GameStop announced that they were doing another stock offering, diluting shareholders once again. GameStop stock had surged over 70% in after-hours trading and was now down over 30%. Kitty had gone to bed a billionaire and woken up to an over $500 million loss. Holy shit.
That's where it is for now. That could go down. It's going down.
However, despite the loss, Kitty didn't seem bothered at all. He was calm, even posting memes about his lost gains. Gill had started his GameStop journey with $50,000 and a thesis and ended up with over $250 million. And despite losing his momentary billionaire status, he still had accomplished one of the most impressive trading feats of all time. A Wall Street Bets legend through and through, Keith still holds GameStop. I'm sure we haven't heard the last from Roaring Kitty. And who knows, maybe one day he will lead his apes to the mother of all short squeezes, the Promised Land.
Apes together strong.